At the end of the day, everybody has to make a decision. Who am I going to trust with my money?
Los reiterate that this facility is built for the world.
Y manipulan nuestra cultura con un horrendo descubrimiento.
Sure. I've got a dead parks worker on the floor. A dead what? I've got a dead parks worker on the floor of the office.
No one can foresee precisely what costs or casualties will be incurred.
We found it. There's someone in my house with my family, and it's not me.
The contact's not answering. Somebody stabbed in business class. So I think we're getting hijacked.
El líder de los terroristas, Mohamed Atta, está ya al mando del vuelo 11 y transmite un mensaje.
Hi, Boston Center, Team U. We have a problem here. We have a hijacked aircraft headed towards New York.
El control de tráfico aéreo alerta al sector noreste de defensa aérea para pedir aviones de combate.
We need you guys to... We need someone to scramble some F-16s or something up there to help us out.
Is this real world or exercise?
No, this is not an exercise. This is what I foresee that we probably need to do. This stuff's going to keep on going. We need to take those fighters on them and put them over Manhattan. Okay? That's play right here. If there's more out there, which we don't know, let's get them over Manhattan. At least we got some kind of play.
Nos volvió la crisis.
Okay, I got an aircraft southeast of the White House. You can play with this.
64 degrees and 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday, September 11th. I'm Lee Harris. Here's what's happening. It's the primary day and the polls are open.
2110, you guys coming in from building number 2 on the 97th floor, piece of trash.
Stay where you are.
When the World Trade Center buildings were going up, my dad told me, when those are finished, we're going to go up on the top. My dad said these buildings will last for 1,000 years. They'll be here forever.
25 to 30 people.
Yes, fire department.
You're on the air right now. Go ahead. What can you tell us?
This just in, you were looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. Clearly something relatively devastating happening this morning there, the south end of the island of Manhattan.
Something that has happened here at the World Trade Center. We noticed flame and an awful lot of smoke from one of the towers of the World Trade Center. My heavens, this is just happened within
pouring out. This gas goes from one side of the building practically all the way to the other.
Con el estallido. We are now looking at flames shooting out of the north side of number 1 World Trade Center, but there are at least some windows blown out and smoke.
Another plane just flew into...
The explosion is incredible! Both buildings of the World Trade Center are definitely on fire. There is black smoke coming from both of them.
And then all of a sudden, I saw a big explosion of fire. And at that point, we all concluded, obviously, it was a terrorist attack.
It is fine. Let's get a run.
What's wrong with this thing?
Appeared to crumble and start to fall. Down.
Las personas atrapadas.
Come on. I got you.
Tras la enorme...
Oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my God. Watch the debris come down the street. Don't open the door. You're right. Oh my God, you saved my life. You saved my life, thank you.
Sean, it's me. I just wanted to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York.
Neil, it's Brian. A plane crashed into the Trade Center. It's on fire, and I'm in it, and I can't breathe.
Joe, there's a fire in my floor. I love you, too. I love you. I don't know if I'm going to be okay here. I love you so much.
El saldo trágico, 2.742 víctimas mortales. El mundo entero conmovido. Nueva York, con una gran nube de polvo eclipsando su corazón y orgullo.
I was grabbing the dust from the ground, thinking that he was in the dust.
Después, otro avión se...
As the attack took place, Mr. Bush was on his way to an elementary school in Florida. When informed of the first plane hitting the World Trade Center, where terrorists had struck just 8 years prior, Mr. Bush decided to go ahead with his photo opportunity.
Read this word the fast way. Get ready. Yes, ma'am. Get ready. Yeah. Okay, get ready to read the word.
Así fue.
When the second plane hit the tower, his chief of staff entered the classroom and told Mr. Bush, the nation is under attack. Not knowing what to do, with no one telling him what to do, and no Secret Service rushing in to take him to safety, Mr. Bush just sat there and continued to read My Pet Goat with the children. Nearly 7 minutes passed with nobody doing anything. As Bush sat in that Florida classroom, was he wondering if maybe he should have shown up to work more often? Should he have held at least one meeting since taking office to discuss the threat of terrorism with his head of counterterrorism? Or maybe Mr. Bush was wondering why he had cut terrorism funding from the FBI. Or perhaps he just should have read the security briefing that was given to him on August 6, 2001, which said that Osama bin Laden was planning to attack America by hijacking airplanes. But maybe he wasn't worried about the terrorist threat.
Curiosamente,
it was a beautiful day.
We have something that has happened here at the World Trade Center. We noticed flame and an awful lot of smoke from one of the towers of the World Trade Center. My heavens, this has just happened within...
Smoke is pouring out. This gas goes from one side of the building practically all the way to the other.
We are now looking at flames shooting out of the north side of number 1 World Trade Center, but there are at least some windows blown out and smoke.
Holy shit.
Here's another plane just flew into...
The explosion is incredible. Both buildings at the World Trade Center are definitely on fire. There is black smoke coming from both.
And then all of a sudden, I saw a big explosion of fire. And at that point, we all concluded, obviously, it was a terrorist attack.
Sean, it's me. I just wanted to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York.
Neil, it's Brian. A plane crashed into the Trade Center. It's on fire, and I'm in it, and I can't breathe.
Joe, there's a fire in my floor. I love you, too. I love you. I don't know if I'm going to be okay here. I love you so much.
Come on.
Sin duda eso.
What happened, and we just looked at each other and instinctively knew we had to leave, and then we just waited. We waited for an announcement or an alarm, but there was none. There was no announcement. There was no alarm.
Decidí salir y correr y salvar mi vida.
We knew it was a very horrible situation, tremendously bad, and nothing like your worst nightmare.
When finally we got down in the 20s, that we began to see the brigade of firemen coming up the stairs, and asked them what happened, and they said that a plane hit the building, and people asked what kind of a plane, and there was no answer.
National tragedy. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country. And now, if you join me in a moment of silence. May God bless the victims, their families, and America. Thank you very much.
CIA. We do know that the CIA and the first the Carter administration and then the Reagan-Bush administration used Saudi wealth and Saudi influence to raise an army to fight against the Soviets in Afghanistan. One of the individuals that was relied upon to do this was Osama bin Laden. At one point in time, on September 11th, there were many members of the bin Laden family in the United States, and of course we find out later that in a crafty maneuver, the Saudi ambassador arranged to have an airplane pick all these people up and get them out of the United States, obviously before they could ever be questioned by members of our FBI.
Hey, what's your name? Tom Canavan. Tom, what happened, man? Big boom. Come down the steps, everything fine, so we got to the basement, and then everything just fell in. After 10 years, and it seems like yesterday, the physical pain is gone, long gone. The mental pain, that anguish still is every day. You hear certain noises, certain smells, a plane flies over, it comes back. It'll never go away.
I'm a war president. I make decisions here in the Oval Office in foreign policy matters with war on my mind. Nuclear weapon. Nuclear weapon. Nuclear weapon.
Saddam Hussein is determined to get his hands on a nuclear bomb.
He has not developed any significant capability with respect to weapons of mass destruction. He is unable to project conventional power against his neighbors.
Saddam Hussein is determined to get his hands on a nuclear bomb.
During an address from the aircraft carrier USS Lincoln, President Bush declared the war in Iraq a success and said no terrorist network will gain weapons of mass destruction from the Iraqi regime, because it turns out they didn't have any.
I had been notified that a plane had hit the World Trade Center. At first I thought it was a light aircraft. And my reaction was, man, either the weather was bad or something extraordinary happened to the pilot.
Bush was on his way to an elementary school in Florida. When informed of the first plane hitting the World Trade Center, Mr. Bush decided to go ahead with his photo opportunity. When the second plane hit the tower, his chief of staff entered the classroom and told Mr. Bush, the nation is under attack. Not knowing what to do, with no one telling him what to do, and no Secret Service rushing in to take him to safety, Mr. Bush just sat there and continued to read My Pet Goat with the children.
The duck ran down the road and kept running until he found a pond.
Mr. President, we've just received word the planet is under attack by aliens.
Okay.
Sir, they've already wiped out some of our cities. If nothing is done, they'll kill us all.
I see. Well, I'll handle that in a minute. But right now I need to find out what's happening with the duck.
At some point in time, in the immediate aftermath of the attacks, I thought about why didn't we know this? I knew we needed to figure out what went wrong and so to prevent other attacks, but I didn't want to start the finger pointing and, say to our intelligence communities, you fouled up, you should have caught this, why didn't you know?
Perhaps he just should have read the security briefing that was given to him on August 6, 2001, which said that Osama bin Laden was planning to attack America by hijacking airplanes.
You fouled up. You should have caught this. Why didn't you know?
Pancake theory, according to which the fires, while not melting the steel, heated it up sufficiently to cause the floors weakened by the airplane strikes to break loose from the steel columns. And this started a chain reaction.
So you would expect then from that theory, which is the official theory, to see a whole stack of floors piled up on top of each other and then a spindle of core columns standing too.
The core of each of the twin towers consisted of 47 massive steel columns. If the floors had broken loose from them, these columns would have still been sticking up into the air 1,000 feet.
The plane did not cut all those core columns.
We designed the buildings to take the impact of the Boeing 707 hitting the building at any location.
The building probably could sustain multiple impacts of jetliners.
That the plane flew straight into the building.
Flew in, right.
So you're saying that the building was actually designed to cope with a hole like that and
Right.
still survive?
Yeah, it was.
If you had dropped, say, a billiard ball from the top of the World Trade Center, 110 floors up there, it would have taken 8 to 10 seconds to hit the ground, encountering no resistance whatsoever.
The Twin Towers came down in nearly free fall speed.
There is no scenario for a pancake effect of buildings falling that allows them to fall at the rate of free fall.
Now what can do that? What can move mass out of the way? Explosives.
Wait, are you thinking?
Oh my God! No way. Holy mofo, what is that though?
We have just received word that the Academy Award-winning actor and comedian Robin Williams has died.
Tonight, celebrities are sharing their condolences.
The world has lost one of its biggest stars.
Where did they get Sarah Palin? Where did they find her? It's like she came from some sort of reality show. Project Running Mate. Here she comes. Here comes Sarah. Her hobbies are breastfeeding and helicopter hunting.
Feel a little less alone, and that's the most important. And that's, you know, his memory is one that I have yet to meet people that didn't find it overwhelmingly positive. So I'll just try and focus on that.
What is the Facebook exactly?
It's an online directory that connects people through universities and colleges through their social networks there. When we first launched, we were hoping for, maybe 400, 500 people, and now we're at 100,000 people, so who knows where we're going next. We're hoping to have many more universities by the fall, hopefully over 100 or 200, and from there we're going to launch a bunch of side applications which should keep people coming back to the site.
We took the whole company to go see the movie.
The whole company.
I actually thought it was pretty fun.
But I guess my question is, was it hard to watch for you?
In watching it, it's pretty interesting to see what parts they got right and what parts they got wrong. I think that they got every single T-shirt that they had the Mark Zuckerberg character wearing right. I think I actually own those T-shirts. And they got the sandals right and all that.
My question is, you seem to have taken some steps to make more public my information as a Facebook member on your own, by yourself, all of a sudden announcing them.
Nice.
Those emails back in college, they stick to you now, whether you like it or not.
Good at
How do you explain the hubbub around it? How do you, and it must affect you as a person because...
Yeah, when I was 18 or 19 years old, I did a lot of stupid things, right, when I was in college, and I think, I don't want to make an excuse for that, right? I did stupid things. I think they're embarrassing, and I'm really sorry that I did them. Some of the things that people accuse me of are true, some of them aren't. I think a lot of it has been pretty well documented.
Right.
The
Would you like
face
to say
mask
which
pranks.
things are true?
I think I actually don't even know, looking back.
I think the problem...
Yeah, I've committed to starting the Startup Education Foundation, whose first project will be a $100 million challenge grant.
$100 million?
How about
modernizing democracy so everyone can vote online? And how about personalizing education so everyone can learn? These achievements are all within our reach.
Facebook.
One day after class, I was talking to my students about going to college, and one of my top students raised his hand and said that he wasn't sure he could go to college because he's undocumented. He wasn't sure if they'd take him. Here is a young guy who has every reason to be cynical. He wasn't sure if the country he calls home, the only one he's known, was going to deny him his dream of going to college.
Our role in life seems to be just to consume things with credit, to borrow money to buy things we don't need.
Was back to the drawing board and come out with something that was more fragile.
They time those things. They time them. So when you finally paid for them, they're used up.
Posterity will never forgive us. Posterity will suddenly find out about the throwaway lifestyles of people in the advanced countries.
The light bulb conspiracy. The untold story of planned obsolescence.
Welcome to Livermore, California, home of the longest burning light bulb in the world. My name's Lynn Owens, and I am chairman of the Light Bulb Committee. It was in 1972 when we discovered that the light bulb that was hanging in the fire station was a significant light bulb.
I think we were hoping if we would get 200 people, we'd be happy, and we ended up with 800 or 900 people showing up.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Do you think anybody would sing happy birthday to a light bulb? Well, we didn't think they would, but they did.
The origin of the bulb was, it was produced in a town called Shelby, Ohio, back around 1895, and put together by some very interesting ladies that I have some pictures of, and some gentlemen that invested in the company. The filament was invented by Adolphe Chaillet. He invented his filament to last. Why does his filament last? I don't know. It's a secret that he made, and that died with him.
La fórmula para
Casa en detalle.
Investigators say blood found in Hans Reiser's house could belong to Nina Reiser. They found 2 books about murder in his car.
She didn't just abuse me. She looked for every possible way she could screw me.
Y de que lo condenara.
We, the jury, in the above entitled clause, find the defendant, Hans Reiser, guilty of a murder